I was lucky enough to debut for you guys on the channel the new 2025 6th generation 4Runner. And it was a big surprise in some ways, in other ways, not so much. It couldn't deviate too much from other platform vehicles like the Tacoma, for example. But now we have this issue on our hands. Should you buy the Land Cruiser instead? Should you buy a Lexus GX instead? Should you buy the 4Runner? It's great to have options. And I'm going to tell you which F platform vehicle is best per your price point. Guys, you're going to have a lot of snacks and drinks for this one because the spreadsheet game is on that next level. Let's go. The spreadsheet here, I've spent the last couple hours plowing into, and I am going to take some stabs. We know a lot about the new 4Runner. What we don't know is pricing. We do know pricing of the GX. We do know pricing of the Land Cruiser, the J250 Prado that we get here stateside, but we don't know pricing of the 6th gen 4Runner. But everything's getting more expensive, so I tried to increase reasonably just a little bit from the 5th gen to the 6th gen. There could be some surprises here from Toyota. Like there have been instances where they've been able to reduce the price on some models, but it's typically their hybrids have come down in price over time. All right. When you're talking about base model to base model here, do they ever really go down in price unless it's a hybrid? That's typically not the case. So there's just going to be, I'm expecting very mild price increases or maybe even a price decrease here early on in the trim levels. I don't think they can raise it too much because remember, they are going to be capped by the Land Cruiser prices. They can't get too close to that. And the Land Cruiser also can't get too close to the Lexus GX. But there might be some standouts here, some that kind of exist beyond that bell curve. And I only have the pricing here what I'm expecting for the 4-wheel drive models. The 2-wheel drives are freaks, they're rare, they're hard to find, and the demand for them isn't that high. I guess Florida might have a few of them rolling around, but they're not very common. So 4Runner, we're only going to look at 4x4. We know the J250 Land Cruiser and the GX are standard 4x4. Actually, not only that, they're all-time 4x4 because the 4Runner can do 2-wheel drive. It can do 4-wheel drive if you have optional part-time 4-wheel drive. The exception would be the Limited and the Platinum. When you outfit those with the iForce Max powertrain, there is no 2-wheel drive. It's full-time 4x4. There's not a whole lot to be said about the early grades here for the 4Runner because it just doesn't compete with the Land Cruiser or the Lexus GX on a base level in terms of equipment and the lack thereof, right? The SR5, the TRD Sport, and the TRD Sport Premium fall short of some of the things we're going to see here in the Land Cruiser and the GX Premium base grade. But where things start to get interesting here is we start to look at the TRD Off-Road. And I think we're going to see pretty big price increases here for the 4Runner. About $3,000, maybe more for the entry-level TRD Off-Road. And then we're going to get an additional $3,500 if you want that iForce Max hybrid powertrain. And if these are the prices, again, take this with a grain of salt. We don't have official pricing here on the 6th gen 4Runner. We're going to have to wait till this fall when it is available. Think about September and also stay tuned and make sure you subscribe because I will be driving it sometime probably around September as well for the media drive, just like I revealed for you guys the new 4Runner. So this is where it gets interesting. You could get a TRD Off-Road iForce Max here. My guess is in the low 50s. The Land Cruiser 1958, the base grade starts at $55,950. And for me, based off the looks of the Land Cruiser badge snobbery that I have over the 4Runner, I would be picking the J250 1958 Land Cruiser. Even though it's cloth seats, even though it doesn't have power seats, even though it's a small screen, I would be picking this over the TRD Off-Road 4Runner if these are the prices. To me, it is absolutely worth it. You get the iForce Max powertrain standard. You have greater ergonomics in both of them. Keep that in mind. Also, I'm not accounting into any of these prices destination processing and handling. All right, that's just the tax that we have to pay essentially on, not sales tax, but it's a shipping tax. The premium fuel for the Land Cruiser doesn't come until the Land Cruiser grade or the Land Cruiser premium grade. And I also don't have the launch edition here because it's only 5,000 units. That's going to be out the window. But think of it as, well, it's around $72,000. So it doesn't really compete either in any of these trims. I guess you could say it competes kind of with the Overtrail models from Lexus to an extent, but I don't want to get into that right now. So now also, since the Land Cruiser standard hybrid, you get 2400 watt AC inverter, but you're going to have that on the iForce Max here on the TRD off-road. Now, the thing is, if you don't want the iForce Max, I get it. Save a few $1,000s and get the non-hybrid here on the TRD off-road. But if you're getting the hybrid TRD off-road, and let's say it's in the low 50s, just spring for the J250 Land Cruiser 1958 edition. Okay, so this trim level, to me, if the pricing is here, it's dead in the water for the iForce Max TRD off-road. TRD off-road premium model, again, to me, it's going to be tough. We don't have official packaging and pricing, but I would probably still just go for the Land Cruiser 1958. You probably can get the bigger screen here, over the 8-inch screen than we have here. It just depends on what your priorities, right? Because I bet this TRD off-road premium has a 14-inch screen. Maybe JBL, but don't hold out for it. But to me, still, I like the looks of the Land Cruiser so much more than the 4Runner, personally, right? Let me know down below what looks you prefer. But the Land Cruiser, for me, is the way to go if you're spending around low 50s to $55,000 on the 4Runner. Now, the limited model starts to look kind of like a bargain here compared to the Land Cruiser. The Land Cruiser grade, not the premium grade, but the base Land Cruiser is about $62,000, $63,000 after destination. So it comes in about $8,000 more than the iForce Max Limited. And that's when we can start talking about the premium GX, because the GX here starts to look real interesting too. The GX does not have a hybrid powertrain in America yet. The GX just has the 3.44 liter twin turbo V6, no electrification. And some people really, really want that. But unfortunately, this base Lexus GX doesn't have that nice 2400 AC watt inverter, but what it does have is a third row of seats. That is something you absolutely cannot get on the Land Cruiser here in the United States. They had to protect the Lexus GX, and so they nerfed the Land Cruiser here with only 2 rows of seats. And they're only offering the Limited here as the higher end 3-row seat option. Most of them will be 2-row, but Limited will have a 3rd-row seat option, and I don't know what that would do to the price. But essentially, if you need 3 rows of seats, it's either GX or it's 4Runner. And 4Runner's 3 rows only SR5 to my understanding, or the Limited. There's no longer an SR5 premium model. So it's SR5 base or the Limited that has a 3rd-row seat on the new 4Runner. So if you need a 3rd-row seats, I get it. Land Cruiser is not the vehicle for you. You could also look at a Sequoia. You could also look at a GX. There are other options in the Toyota and Lexus lineup, right? Now, there's an all-new Platinum grade here on the 4Runner. I haven't seen it yet. It'll have a head-up display. It'll kind of be a blacked-out version of the Limited. It can't be that much more expensive than the Limited. Even at $56K here, I think it's quite a stretch. But again, wait for official pricing. But expect still about a $10,000 price delta between the Platinum 4Runner and the J250 Land Cruiser Premium grade. Now, I just drove the Land Cruiser Premium. I can't talk about it. I'm still under embargo until about 2 days from now. Then I'll upload a video in which TRD John and I did some off-roading in the Land Cruiser. But I can't talk about how that feels now. What I can talk about, and it's not an embargo, is about the interior feel and just the materials. Once you get to this Land Cruiser grade and premium grade, it makes the 4Runner, and I've been in the Limited, I've been in the Trail Hunter and the TRD Pro. And the Land Cruiser and Lexus GX, for that matter, absolutely blow away the 4Runner in terms of materials, in terms of interior space, and just overall layout and design. The 4Runner's interior is a little, I don't know, teenager-ish for me. And that's not a slam. I would be happy driving a 4Runner every day, or even the new Tacoma, right? The interior of the Tacoma is just like the 4Runner. The Land Cruiser feels luxury or semi-luxury, like premium. And it's because the Lexus GX shares with it as well. The problem with the Lexus GX, even at these upper luxury grades, it has lost its luxury feel. So it's a premium feel, but it doesn't have that high-end luxury feel that the outgoing GX did, which is super buttery smooth, super quiet, no rattles or anything going on. The new GX, at least last time I tested it, that's where it fell short of the old GX. But it has now an aesthetic to it that keeps up with G-Wagons, that keeps up with the Land Rover Defender, for example. And it is a fantastic vehicle in the luxury segment, despite it losing some of the luxury touch, if you know what I mean. If you want three-row luxury, I would probably skip the limited 4Runner and get the GX. I know there's a big price difference there, but if you need luxury in that sort of package and a third row, get the GX. If you want the luxury and you don't need the third row, get the Land Cruiser. Right? The only way that I would be getting the GX is if you don't want the hybrid powertrain and you need a very nice three-row. The styling on the GX is so similar to the J250 Land Cruiser, I change my mind every other day on which one looks better. So there you have it. I think I like the front end of the GX more and the back end of the Land Cruiser more, but I changed my mind on that still. So from the side, they're almost identical, right? Now, here's the thing when it comes to the off-roading capabilities of these trucks. They're all insanely capable. And it's not like one is going to be that much more capable than the others outside of the Lexus GX Overtrail that has EKDSS. That is a technology you can't get on any other vehicle from Toyota or Lexus here in the United States. All right. So if you want elite off-roading technology where the front and rear sway bars can disconnect and connect back on their own on infinite levels, that's when you get the Overtrail and you don't need 3 rows of seats, because remember, Overtrail does not have 3 rows of seats. The Trailhunter and the TRD Pro are amazing. They look awesome. They don't have the same sort of premium feel, though, like I said, of the Land Cruiser or the Land Cruiser Premium. But their identity is a little bit different. The Trailhunter for overlanding and the TRD Pro for high-speed desert running, just like the Tacoma. Now, it doesn't mean they can't do vice versa. It's just that the shocks have been tuned on the Trailhunter for heavy load capacity, so it could be a little bit stiffer. And the TRD Pro has a customizable Fox shocks on them instead of the Old Man Emu shocks. And these Fox shocks with adjustments can make it very, very compliant for high-speed racing off-road. Wait for my driving impressions on the TRD Pro where I was able to take it off on speed. I'll just end it there. Right? I can't say anything else until that embargo ends. The Land Cruiser, even though it is very luxury, it's kind of like a blank slate more so than the 4Runner is, at least at the higher price points. And the Land Cruiser set up so nicely from the factory, at least the higher trim ones. Other than a roof rack, there's not a whole lot you need to do to it. And that's the same for the Trailhunter and the TRD Pro 4Runners, right? These grades are pretty much set up. You're ready to go. Same thing with the Overtrail models. However, Toyota has kind of left the extreme off-roading capabilities of the J250 Land Cruiser. They've left it off the table. Expect special editions to come in the future of the Land Cruiser to be a little bit more radical, but we just don't have them right now. That's why I have question marks, because the Trailhunter and the TRD Pro are a little bit more specialized units compared to these jack of all trade Land Cruisers. And I'd say jack of all trades and then some Overtrail models for the Lexus GX. Now, if you need that full-on luxury with the 3-row seats, like I said, get the Lexus GX at the Luxury and Luxury Plus. But even here at the premium models, like I said, I'd probably pick a premium GX, spend $8 to $10 grand more over a limited or platinum 4Runner. Would I pick a Lexus GX Premium over the Land Cruiser Premium? Well, there's about a $3,000 price delta. Is it worth it with the Lexus badge? The answer comes down to, again, do you need 3 rows of seats? If you do, get the Lexus. If you don't want electrification, get the Lexus. But if you like that hybrid powertrain, don't need 2 rows of seats, go ahead and get that J250 Land Cruiser. Now, what about Land Cruiser Premium versus something like the Overtrail? What would you do there? And this is a tough one. I can't recommend one over the other. Let me know if you would want the EKDSS of the base Overtrail grade at about $70,000, or would you save about $3,000 and get the Land Cruiser Premium? There's just too many good options there. This video could honestly be about 2 hours long if I went into each grade, each equipment, each powertrain. So after mulling around this spreadsheet for hours, honestly, I would probably just be getting the base SR5 TRD Sport or SR5 Premium 4Runners. But once you get over $50,000 on a 4Runner, I would be getting the base Land Cruiser, even the Land Cruiser trim. So I know we have all these trim levels here on the 4Runner, but for me, I would be happy to spend and get a little bit less equipment in terms of technology. I'm happy to spend 55, 56, 57 for the base J250 grade. Depends on what kind of deal you can get, but honestly, I would be trying to keep the price under $50,000 on my 4Runner. And once you get up to upper $50,000, like the Platinum, possibly the Limited, it depends on what the price shakes out, the Trailhunter, the TRD Pro, unless you need the specificity of the high-speed TRD Pro suspension or the specificity of the stout overtrailing equipment and payload capacity of the Trailhunter, I'd just be getting a Land Cruiser. And if you need the 3-row, just get a Lexus GX. Guys, I'll see you down below. If I'm as torn as you are, then I'm sure you'll have plenty of things to say down below about these 3 amazing off-roading SUV trucks from Lexus and Toyota. They're all about the same size. They're all on the same platform. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. Once we find out pricing for the 4Runner, maybe we'll revisit this spreadsheet for another deep, dark dive into which trim level is best. But I think, honestly, I think this remains true, regardless of what the pricing is going to be, exact pricing is going to be on the trim levels. Under $50,000, get the 4Runner. Don't care the trim level. Over $50,000, get a Land Cruiser. If you need a 3rd row with some nice features, get the Lexus. These Overtrails, honestly, gosh, I thought I was about ready to end this video, but these Overtrails should be about here as well, right? Because they have 2 rows of seats. It's essentially the J250 with a Lexus badge, right? But with EKDSS. So that's exactly where these should be. I don't feel like redoing the whole video over, but if you made it this far in the video, that makes sense, right? So I'm going to shut it down there. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more Land Cruiser, more Lexus GX coverage. I will be getting a GX on the channel here in the near future for review. That's great because it's a luxury model, so I'll be able to test the 3-row functionality of it. It has gotten a little bit more usable with this generation compared to last generation. And then also stay tuned for my driving impressions of the 4Runner at the end of the summer, and then Land Cruiser and driving impressions in just a couple days. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. Smash the like button and peace out.